Today we are doing a review of lessons 4.1 and 4.2, graphing inequalities and solving addition and subtraction inequalities. Our I can statements: I can write inequalities, I can solve and graph inequalities using addition and subtraction, and I can solve real-life problems involving inequalities. All right, so let's start by just reviewing some of the key words that go with the different symbols for inequalities. So an equation is a statement that says two things are equal. An inequality is a statement that says two things are not equal. And the chart shows symbols and phrases that indicate inequalities. So in our first category here, we've got this less than. Kind of looks like a sloppy L. It means less than. Other keywords there are fewer than or below. In our next column here, we have greater than. Other keywords are more than or above. This is a less than or equal to, at most, or no more than. And then greater than or equal to, at least, or no less than. All right, so for our first type of problem, we are just writing the right inequality symbol for the situation. So no more than 200 people can be seated in the restaurant. So no more than. So the number of people in the restaurant, it can't be bigger. It has to be less than 200. Or it could equal 200. There's space for 200 people in the restaurant, but there can't be any more than that. Second one, the waiting time for a table is at least 20 minutes. So waiting time is going to be greater than or equal to 20 minutes. At least means greater than or equal to. Number 3, the price for all special dinner entrees is below $10. That means less than. So the cost for those entrees is less than $10. And then the Yoshida family spent more than $40 for dinner, so the amount that they spent is greater than $40. All right. So let's take a look at our next slide here. So an inequality can be shown on a graph. The graph has all the possible solutions shaded. So the shading part of that graph is showing the possible solutions for the inequality. So here the graph is showing all of the numbers that are greater than 3. In an inequality, it looks like this: x is greater than 3. You have an open circle on the 3 that shows the value 3 is not included in the graph. 3 is not greater than 3. And then the shaded numbers to the right are ones that would be solutions for x is greater than 3. If I took 4 and I put it back in, 4 is greater than 3. That's true. If I put 5 in for x, 5 is greater than 3. That's true. So you're shading in the parts of the number line that would make the inequality true. The next one, we need to shade all the numbers greater than or equal to 3. Here we have an extra little line underneath it. That means 3 could be a solution. So we have a closed circle shaded in part here that shows that 3 is included in your graph. It could be a solution. On the next row here, we've got x is less than 3, open circle on the 3 shaded to the left. All of these are numbers that are less than 3. And then on the last one, all numbers less than or equal to 3. And again, because it could be equal, there's a closed circle here. If the variable comes first, that inequality symbol points the way that you're shading. So here the point is going to the right, we're shading to the right. Here the point is going to the left, we're shading to the left. That only works when the variable comes first. If the variable comes second in the inequality statement, that trick does not work. All right, so let's do a little practice with graphing. This first one is x is greater than -4. We're going to draw an open circle at -4 because -4 is not a solution. Okay, then we look at that inequality symbol and we say x is greater than -4. And then we're going to draw our arrow and we're going to shade it to the right. And because those are all numbers that are greater than negative 4. So if I went back and I put this back in, and do a very good job of drawing my open circle, I'm going to erase it a little bit. Try it again. Anything, there we go, that's a little bit better. Anything that I pick from the shaded part would make that true. So if I pick 0, 0 is greater than negative 4. 2 is greater than negative 4. I'm shading numbers that would make that inequality statement true. All right, 6x is less than or equal to 1. Closed circle, it could be 1. Then it's less than or equal to. So we're using numbers to the left here because we're looking for ones that are less than 1. If I take one of these like negative 3, that would be true. Negative 3 is less than or equal to 1. All right, let's look at number 7. A is greater than negative 1. Can't be equal to negative 1, so we're going to put an open circle. Then we're going to shade to the right because those are the greater than numbers. All right, if I picked 0, that would be true. 0 is greater than negative 1. Here I have y is less than or equal to 3, so could be equal to 3. I'm going to shade a closed circle on the 3. And then less than or equal to means we're shading to the left. If the variable comes first, the arrow points the way that you're shading. All right, so now let's take a look at some problems that have addition and subtraction in it. We solve addition and subtraction inequalities the same way we solve in addition and subtraction equations. The only difference is that we have an inequality symbol in our answer. So for example 1 here, it says solve, then graph each solution set on a number line. So if n minus 7 is less than or equal to 15. So this was a minus 7. We're going to add 7 to both sides. Negative 7 plus 7 is 0. So we're left with n. Our inequality symbol comes straight down. And then 15 plus 7, let's see, 5 plus 7 would be 12. And then 1 plus 1 is 2. So n is less than or equal to 22. All right, so I'm not sure why they went up by 7s on their number line. It's a little strange. 22 would be about here. So I would need a closed circle because it could equal 22. And then I'm going to shade to the left because all of those values are less than 22. So we did a closed circle. And then we shaded the line to the left. All right, let's go ahead and look at an addition one. So d plus 11 is greater than 6. So this is a plus 11. To cancel out a plus 11, we're going to subtract 11. That cancels out the addition. Boom, change to addition. Boom, change the sign. I now have different signs. I'm going to find the difference. 6 plus negative 11 is negative 5. So I have d is greater than negative 5. Now, this particular one asked us to check, which is what we did in 4.1, where they said is see if something is a solution. If you want to check, you can pick a number that's greater than negative 5 and see if it's a solution. So I know 0 is greater than negative 5. I could put 0 in and see if that's true. 0 plus 11 is 11, and 11 is greater than 6. So 0 I picked because 0 is greater than negative 5, and it's easy to add with 0. All right, let's take a look at example 3. Edgar's August profit of $137 was at least $20 higher than his July profit. What was July's profit? So you have to look for those inequality symbol words here. It's going to be at least. So we have at least is greater than or equal to. So August profit, 137, was at least greater than or equal to $20 higher than, means add, July's profit. So we have 137 is greater than or equal to 20 plus P. All right, so we have adding with 20, positive 20. So I'm going to subtract 20 from both sides. 20 minus 20 equals 0, so I'm left with P. I'm going to bring down that greater than or equal to sign. And then I'm going to subtract 137 minus 20 is 117. Story problems do need a label. It's going to be $117. Now notice how they flip-flop that inequality sign. So they had 117 is greater than or equal to P, and then they flip-flopped it. That mouth of the alligator is still eating the 117. That's still the larger number, but they changed it so the variable came first, which helps make it a little easier to graph. You certainly don't have to flip-flop it, but you can if you want. But if you're going to flip-flop the side of the number and the letter, you have got to flip-flop that inequality sign as well. All right, go ahead and pause the video and try these on your own. Okay, let's check our answers. So for number 1, we have B minus 14 is greater than or equal to negative 8. So this is a minus 14. We're going to add 14. B is greater than or equal to, different signs, find the difference. 14 minus 8 would be 6. So I have B is greater than or equal to 6. And then I need to put in my number on my number line. So closed circle on the 6. And then it is going to be shaded to the right. Don't forget to put that arrow on the end. All right. If I took any of the numbers on the side, say 10, and put it in, it would be true. 10 is greater than or equal to 6. All right. Next one says solve and check. So we do need to do a check on this one. A plus 15 is less than or equal to 20. So we subtract 15 from both sides. 20 minus 15 is 5, so we get A is less than or equal to 5. I need to pick a number less than 5. I'm going to pick 1. You might pick something different. 1 plus 15 is less than or equal to 20. 1 plus 15 is 16. 16 is less than or equal to 20. Yep, that's true. All right, last one. Last year, the football team had at least, key phrase there, at least 8 more takeaways than this year. Last year, they had 10 takeaways. How many takeaways did they have this year? All right, so we're going to go in order. Last year, which was 10, they had at least 8 more. So less than or greater than or equal to 8 more than this year. Okay. So now we need to figure out how much for this year. So last year was 10, and that was at least 8 more than this year. Okay, so to get rid of that plus 8, we're going to subtract 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. So I have 2 is greater than or equal to x. Or if I wanted to flip-flop it to have the variable first, make it easier to graph, I could do that. I could flip-flop it and get x is less than or equal to 2. Mouth of the alligator is facing the 2. That is the larger value. All right, now we're going to try some story problems with writing and solving inequalities with addition and subtraction. All right, so here it says a small car averages up to 29 more miles per gallon of gas than an SUV. If a small car averages 44 miles per gallon, what is the average miles per gallon for an SUV? Okay, so we need to look for our inequality words on this one. It's going to be the up to. All right. Small car is our 44. Up to means it's going to be less than or equal to. It can't be more than up to. And then 29 more miles. More means we're going to add than the SUV. All right. So now we are going to write our inequality with the keywords that we found. 44 is less than or equal to 29 plus, I'm just going to call it X. All right, so we need to figure out the average miles per gallon for the SUV. This is a plus 29. We're going to subtract 29. I'm going to line up my place values here. 29 minus 29 is 0. It leaves me with X. Over here, I need to borrow before I subtract. 14 minus 9 is 5. 3 minus 2 is 1. So I have 15. And then remember, story problems need a label. So miles per gallon. Miles per gallon. All right, let's take a look at number 2. Carlos is taking a car trip that is more than, here's our keyword, 240 miles, depending on the route he chooses. He has already driven 135 miles. How much farther does he have to go? All right, so we know the trip is more than 240 miles. More than is greater than. He's already driven 135, so he's driven 135 miles. He has X amount to go. And all that together is going to be more than 240. All right, so we have addition. We need to cancel it out with subtraction. $135 minus 135 leaves me with X is greater than. And then over here, I'm going to need to borrow before I can subtract. 10 minus 5 is 5. 3 minus 3 is 0. 2 minus 1 is 1. So X is greater than 105 miles. All right, let's look at number 3. Driving into the city usually takes 25 minutes. If there's a lot of traffic, the trip can take up to 45 minutes. How much additional time should you allow during a heavy traffic period? Up to 45 minutes means less than or equal to 45. Normally it's 25. Some amount more time, and then less than or equal to 45. We've got a plus 25, so we're going to subtract 25. We have X is less than or equal to 20 minutes. Don't forget about those labels. All right, number 4, to qualify for the heavyweight wrestling division, Kobe must weigh at least 180 pounds. If Kobe weighs 168 pounds now, how much weight should he gain? At least means greater than or equal to. So he's 168 now. He needs extra weight. And then it's going to be greater than or equal to 180. Okay, we're going to get rid of that plus 168 by subtracting 168. 168 minus 168 leaves us with X is greater than or equal to. Here we're going to need to borrow. 10 minus 8 is 2. 7 minus 6 is 1. X is greater than or equal to 12 pounds. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and try these last 4. Okay, let's check our answers. So number 5 says on one day the range of temperatures in one state was at most 27 degrees. So at most 27 degrees. All right, if the lowest state, the temperature in the state was 59, what was the highest temperature? Okay, so at most means that we are doing less than or equal to 27. We know range means you subtract. You take the highest minus the lowest. We don't know what the highest is. We're going to call it T for temperature. We know what our lowest was. It was 59. So we have T minus 59 degrees is less than or equal to 27. To get rid of the minus 59, we'll have to add 59. So let's see. Those would cancel out. 27 plus 59, 7 plus 9 gives us 16. Carry the 1. 1 plus 2 plus 5, that's 8. So we would end up having T is less than or equal to 86, which matches B. All right, let's take a look at number 6. The highest possible score on the Scholastic Aptitude Test is 2,400. Rebecca scored 1,780. She needs a score of at least, here's our key phrase, 1,950 to qualify for a scholarship. How much higher must her score be? All right, so we know at least means greater than or equal to. All right, so we have 1,780 plus some more extra points has to be greater than or equal to 1,950. So now we're going to subtract on both sides of our inequality. So we get x is greater than or equal to, all right, let's see, 0 minus 0 is 0. 5 minus 8 takes us into the negative, so I'm going to borrow, make that an 8. Make this a 15. 15 minus 8 is 7. 8 minus 7 is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. So we have x is greater than or equal to 170. And over here I see that they used S for score. So it's going to be H here. All right, let's take a look at number 7. Romero is saving to buy an Apex Model 12 computer. The lowest price that Romero can find for the computer is $1,250. Romero now has $825. His grandmother is going to give him another $200. How much more money does Romero need? Okay, lowest price is going to be $1,250. That means the amount of money that he needs to be greater than or equal to $1,250. That's because he has to have enough money to buy it. So he either has to have that much or he can have more than that. Now this one's tricky because it gives us a couple different numbers here. So he has $825. He's going to get another $200 from his grandmother. And then he's still going to need a little bit more. And then it's going to be greater than or equal to the cost of the computer. All right, so we have some like terms here we need to combine. Should probably have written that addition vertically. Line up those place values. 5 plus 0 is 5. 2 plus 0 is 2. 8 plus 2 is 10. So we have 1,025 plus x is greater than or equal to 1,250. Now we're going to subtract. We have x is greater than or equal to, all right, let's see. Make this 5 a 4. Make this 0 a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 minus 0 is 2. 1 minus 1 is 0. X is greater than or equal to 225, and it's going to be dollars. So that one's going to be C. All right, and then let's look at our last one. The seating capacity of the school gym is 550. So far, there are 210 fans at a basketball game. How many more fans could attend the game? Okay, so the capacity is 550. So we could have 550 people, or we could have less. 210, that's how many people are already at the game, plus however many more has to be less than or equal to 550. Okay, we get rid of the addition with subtraction. X is less than or equal to 0 minus 0 is 0. 5 minus 1 is 4. 5 minus 2 is 3. X is less than or equal to 340. Here they use the letter F for fans. That's going to be the first one, letter F.